Hello, following up on my weekend video where I looked at the week ahead and sort of put a plan together. I talked about how we were looking at this top of range on the QQQ and on SPY, and that if we gapped up, I would be interested in hedging against that for a short, especially if we came right back into range. And we kind of did that today, but it wasn't exactly the way that I expected it. So if you're wondering if I took that short, the answer is no. I didn't take that hedge. So I want to talk a little bit about that and then about some of the other trades that I did attempt today, none of which worked. Um, okay, so here on the QQQs, let's just look at the 5 minute really quick. And you can see here, before market open, it was already, like we were gapping up. This purple line here is the high of yesterday. And so we were gapping up and holding at the highs. And then right before market open, it started coming back in. So that's not what I wanted to see. Technically, we were still a gap up, but it was very small, and we filled that gap almost immediately. And so even though it's like loosely what I described would be the scenario that I would want to get short with, to me, it wasn't what I was expecting or what I wanted. What I was looking for was for an open of strength, a show of strength in the open where you gap up and then you start to push up higher, and then that push up climaxes and then the drop comes. And if that had happened, I would have been more interested in a short from the tippity top. Whereas this just coming in, as soon as it started to come in and showing a lot of wicks here on the 5 minute chart, you can see, it was oscillating quite a bit here, breaking lower, oscillating, testing higher, going lower, oscillating. And the whole time it was doing that, it was doing it at the point of at or above the point of control from yesterday, or at or above the value area low from yesterday. It actually held the value area low here in the morning, like to the penny. And so that's not weak, right? Like if you're in an uptrend, this is what the other thing that I talked about is there were really two scenarios. One is that it gaps up and then reverses and comes all the way back in. That's one. The other is that it just trickles up. We get the slow crawl up, and it stair steps up, and it never sets a daily high or low. Well, today's price action is exactly how that is achieved, right? It tricks you into like missing it. It tricked me into missing it, where you're sort of a tightening range through most of the day. You break to lower, but where did it break to? It broke to the 4-hour EMA 12, which is basically probably going to hold a support for a lot of this move up, assuming we do keep moving up. And it held the low of yesterday. So I remember when it dropped down here and it started to move back up again, I was like, oh my God, I should buy this. This is probably the bottom that I just missed. And of course, then it rallied hard into the close of day, where it was actually, you can see here in after hours, it's actually moving up towards the opening print of the whole day, or the open and the high of day today. So I didn't hedge. I didn't get long. I was busy doing other things. And it looks to my eyes like we might just get the trickle up. We'll see how we open up tomorrow morning, but I would not even be surprised if we wake up tomorrow morning and it's up gapping again or close to it. So we'll see what happens. Today, what I did try is in the morning, I was interested in Amazon for a weekly high or low. And I was interested in it holding these lows that it had been trying to set. It was sort of coming down with this falling wedge pattern here on a higher time frame. I think it was the hourly chart I saw this falling wedge, and then it was breaking out of it in pre-market. It was pushing up out of that, and so I was like, "Oh, this could be it. Maybe it'll come back in and do a little test, and then carry on." And so I played it. I played this on. I'll go on the 2 minute time frame. We should be able to see it. Yeah, so here on the open, we were gapping up over yesterday half day, and I'll just bring this in so you can see where the gap level was. Give it a second there. I don't know why it's not drawing that line properly. Give me 1 second. My mistake. It wasn't gapping up. It had gapped up pre-market, but then it came back in and was opening within the range. But either way, it was above the falling wedge. That's this pink descending line here. And so I was looking for it to sort of come in, test the value area from Friday, and then go. And so it developed an opening range, got a high here, a low here, and then tried to push higher. And I think I got long somewhere down in here, and then it ended up stopping me out for a loss down here. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll give it one more shot if it holds the low of yesterday. So when it came down with speed and volume towards the low of yesterday, I took a shot right there with a very tight stop, and I took another stop there. So 2 hits there. And those were the biggest losses I had on the day. Everything else was sort of a get risk free and then see if it works trade. So the other one was Meta, which Meta in the morning was, I'm going to go on, I think it was a 5-minute EMA rider down. No, it must have been a 2-minute or a 1-minute. Let me get this off of here so I can see it clearly. There it is. So yeah, it was a 1-minute. See how this blue line here was holding price down the whole way? So that's a 1-minute EMA rider. So I was watching for it to break that, and this pink line here and this pink line here, I drew those in later. So that's not what I was looking at for levels or anything, but I was just watching to see it break. And so when it, on this candle here, right here, where it pushed through and closed above the EMA 12, the 5-minute EMA 12 that I watch here, that was my go signal for a long. And so when it came back in, I bought this dip down here on this candle, and then it rallied, and I got risk free, and then later it came back down and stopped me out. So that was disappointing that did not work. And later in the day, you could see it was on, I think it was the 5-minute is what I drew this falling wedge on. I was thinking maybe it was going to do daily higher low still, but then if you look at it on the daily, it actually had, the last daily higher low was this rinky dink one here, and we were below that now. So if you come over here to today, we broke below that level. So basically the daily uptrend is technically broken. And so I was thinking about getting long here, but I ultimately didn't because the daily uptrend is broken. And at this point, the most likely scenario is actually a daily lower high. So, and it does also look to my eyes like a rounding top. And I really do believe that Meta needs a rest just for healthy consolidation, because it's been going. I'm also a little disappointed because for some reason, I just assumed that if Meta was going to finally roll over, it would do it on a gap up. And it didn't gap up this entire move. Any of this whole thing, there was no gap up. Oh, maybe it was this one. I think this might have been a gap up. That was like the one time it gapped up, and of course it came down and balanced that day. Anyway, I was hoping for a gap up and we didn't get it. And now it looks like it might be finally rolling over, but probably you could be looking for a head and shoulders play or something here if you were going to be looking bearishly, but I don't even want to do that. I'd be looking for a weekly higher low at this point, which would be pretty great to get. So I'll be watching for that. Anyway, so that was Meta. I also did Upstart. Upstart was a range break. So I'd seen here on the daily that we had set a potential daily higher low after this big earnings move, and I didn't nail that on the Friday. I actually didn't think it was going to stop there, and it did stop there and then balance. That would have been a hard one to buy. But this morning when it started rallying and it pushed up here through Friday high of day, I bought that on the break and I carried it through all of this. And up here it was overbought on a few different time frames. That 30-minute means it was overbought on the 5-minute, 15-minute, and the 30-minute time frame where it says 30M right there. I think at the time it was also hourly overbought. So either way, I was like, oh, I should take some profit here. So I took a portion off, and then I put my stop right below this higher low that was set here on the 5-minute chart, and ultimately it did stop me out later in the day. But I kept a big chunk of that profit, which was nice. And then last but not least, I played TEM. I had mentioned that I was looking for a daily higher low in this. And over here, if you go to this chart and put this on, I'll go to the 30-minute just so you can see it clearly. So typically when I'm looking for a daily higher low, you break the low of prior day and then it's on. It could potentially happen. And I'm looking for hourly oversold. And you can see this red line here is where hourly oversold was at. It touched it here on this candle. So let me show you on the 2-minute what happened. So actually, I think it was a 5-minute EMA rider down. Yeah. So I was aware that on the 5 minute, that was the time frame that it was basically riding down. See, this 5 minute EMA 12 is holding it down the whole way. And I'm always looking for extension away from the moving average as a potential place to get long. And you can see here, I had figured I'd seen that the prior all-time high was here and that we were coming back in towards that level. And at the same time that we were doing that, the hourly oversold was coming up to join right here with that prior all-time high level. So we're moving down, riding this EMA. Hourly oversold is coming up. All-time high level is right there. We get this extension away from the moving average right into that spot, and I bought it here at 79.51. I got risk-free on this move back up towards the 5 minute EMA 12, and then I rode this out, and it stopped me out and then rallied. And so that's frustrating, but that's trading. I guess you got to take the good with the bad. I did not buy back into this trade because look at the volume spike here. When it hit this level, I liked that and I believed in that volume spike. And when it came back down here, look at this volume spike. It's basically not even half the volume of all of this. And so I just didn't believe it. I couldn't do it. And I also figured because of the time of day, there wasn't enough time left in the day at this point to get a really solid rally. I didn't think anyway. And this volume didn't convince me otherwise. And so I didn't buy back in. But for all intents and purposes, that might be the daily higher low set right there. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll still be looking at this because oftentimes if it doesn't just gap and like move up and start like running again tomorrow, then there might be another test of lows, even if it's a quick flush down, and I could do a level burner against the low of yesterday, or possibly even get, if it did a little balance in here and had like a level in the after hours and pre-market that it couldn't get above, I could do what I call an access it trader trade there. So I'll be watching this again tomorrow to see if I can get involved in it. And that's what I did today. It was nothing that I did worked out. I ended up ultimately green on the day, but one of those disappointing days where I feel like I traded well. I got in at the spots that made sense. I stuck to my rules. I did hit some stops. I did get stopped out after getting break even on a few things, but no big wins of any kind. So kind of a disappointing day, but it's best you can do. And anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll see how the rest of the week goes.